going to read that in unison from verse 1 to verse 3. Check your neighbor if your neighbor is on Ecclesiastes chapter 3. And if your neighbor is not yet there, say, neighbor. It's just after Proverbs that when you find the book of Ecclesiastes, I see some people are struggling. Mine is a heading which says Solomon's general observations, and a subheading which says everything is its time. Are we there? Let's read in unison. To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones. Father, in the name of Jesus, we bless your holy name. We thank you, Lord. We glorify your name. Your name is a strong tower indeed. The righteous want your name and they find safety. Our safety is only found in your name. Our safety is not found in education. Our safety is not found in numbers. Our safety is not found in money and bank accounts. Our safety is not found in anything except to Christ. So we just want to thank you, Father, that to you we run, to you we hide, and in you we abide. So we just want to thank you, Holy Spirit, for being in this place. For when Christ was going to heaven, he said you are not going to leave us as orphans. You said you're going to leave us with the counselor, with the teacher, with the comforter, and he's going to abide in us and with us. So we acknowledge your presence, Holy Spirit, and we love you. We ask you to teach us, to illuminate, to reveal things unto us, to speak to us even at a personal level. Even before or after I preach, continue to speak to your children because you abide with us and in us. We thank you, Spirit of the living God. And we thank you, Jesus, for Calvary. We thank you for Golgotha. We thank you for the place, that place of exchange, where we can come with our cases and we can get blessings, where we can come with our sicknesses and our infirmities and we can get health, when we can come and we are in despair and we get peace and joy. So we thank you for what you've done for us. We bless your holy name and we glorify your name. Therefore, the Lord rebukes you and we rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And we command you out of the sanctuary. We command you out of anyone's mind. We command you out of anyone's thoughts and anyone's heart. You don't have any place in us. For we received Christ Jesus to be our Lord and our Savior. We were purchased by the blood of the Lamb. So you don't have any business with us. We bind you, we disconnect you, and we command you to lose hold and live our lives permanently. For we are in Christ Jesus. We thank you, Lord, and we bless your name. This morning, Father, I decrease that it may increase. It is not about me. It has never been about me. It's about you, Jesus. For you say, if I raise your name up on high, you draw all men unto you. So we raise your name up on high this morning, Jesus, and draw the hearts of men unto you. We worship you and we thank you and we glorify your name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen and amen. Hallelujah. Today, time is already gone, so it's not my fault. I want to talk about breaking evil pattern. Breaking evil pattern. Breaking evil pattern. And there are some patterns that are that runs in our families. And I just want you to reflect about your family. And some patterns run in countries. Some patterns run in a clan. There are some specific patterns that runs in life. And you can say, when I look in my genealogy, I see that this happens. A lot of people die before the age of 60. Or, people are educated but they are poor. Or I see this pattern that people work and work and work and work. And at the end of the day, they lose everything that they've worked for. Each family, patterns that runs in your family or in your life. So we talked about during the crossover night, that was in December last year, as we were crossing over to the 1st of January. We talked about some of the characteristics of this year, and I said this year is a year to remember. Amidst many things that we talked about, we said it is also a year to remember. We talked about remembering God's appointed times and appointed seasons. In the book of Ecclesia, we learned that everything has its own time and its own season. Time to be born, time to die, time to plant, time to uproot, time to kill, time to heal, time to mourn, time to dance. Everything has its own time and its own season. I remember in January somewhere they're teaching about the 7th feast as appointed times to remember. These feasts, you find them in Leviticus 23. Leviticus 23 is very important. I want to encourage you just to go and review Leviticus 23. And you will learn something new about God and God's times. When we study the 7th feast that we find in Leviticus 23, we come to understand that God instituted those times. Those times didn't come from anyone. They come from God. He himself, he said, during this time, I want you to do that. Starting with the Sabbath is the day that I want you to rest. From the Sabbath, Passover, I want you to do this. So those times are not the invention of man. They are not a calendar that come with the Gregorian or with Constantine. It was God himself who was saying, during this period, this is what I want to happen. During this, so it is God's timing. We noted that all the feasts happened on a number 7. And we happened to be in 2017, which ends with a 7, if we're following the Roman Gregorian calendar. But if we're following the Hebrew calendar, this year is 5777, which is 777 at the end. So you find out that he created the earth in 6 days, and the Sabbath, the 7th day, what did he do? He rests, and he expects every man to rest also, to abide in him, trust in him, reflect, believe, think about him, and he will download back unto you. So 7th day is a time of rest, is a time of worship. Then, if you count 7 plus 7, which is the 14th day, he says it's the time of Passover. So Passover is the 14th day, which is 7 by 2. Then the feast of the first fruits, you find that in Leviticus 23. Every 7th month, you have to have the feast of the first fruits. In other words, this is the time that you take a chunk from what God has given you, the first fruits of what God has given you, and you bring it to the house of the Lord and say, Lord, this is my first fruits. This is what you have given me, and I give back to you. In other words, you are saying to the Lord, whatever belongs to me belongs to you. My account is your account. My garden is your garden. Whatever belongs to me belongs to you. In actual fact, there's something that is in you that is more important than anything else that you can give to the Lord. It is the breath that you have. If you can take that breath away, what do we say about you? You are dead. So, in other words, the first fruits is to say, Lord, whatever belongs to me is yours. I'm giving it unto you. So, during the 7th month is the month of the first fruits. The church doesn't really understand this thing that I'm talking about because of the corruption of the calendar. And I'm going to explain that as we go. All right. Then we have another time, what we call the Feast of Weeks. It is the 7th Sabbath each year. It is the Feast of Weeks. Then there's also the Feast of Trumpets. It is every seventh month. It is the Feast of Trumpets. Also, every seventh month is the Day of Atonement. Then there will be the Feast of Tabernacles. It also happens in the seventh month. So the seventh month is very important to the Lord. Then every seventh year, year 1 year, 2 year, 3, we call it the sabbatical year, the Sabbath year. You see, it falls on 7. Then, if you count 7 years times 7, then he calls it the year of Jubilee. So you find from the Sabbath, from the Passover, Feast of First Fruits, Feast of Weeks, Feast of Trumpets, Day of Atonement, Feast of Tabernacles, Sabbath year, Jubilee year, all of them, they are falling on the 7th. 7th represents completion, represents perfection. It is the timing of the Lord. So all these were, and there are times to remember. I said it is a year to remember, times to remember. God himself says, I don't want you to work on these particular days. I want you to rest on these particular feasts and these particular days and remember. During the Day of Atonement, which is the most holy day in the Bible, it is not Christmas. It is the Day of Atonement, the most holy day in the Bible. He says that's the only day that I want you to fast for 24 hours in remembrance of me, in remembrance of what God has done for Israel. The Day of Atonement was fulfilled during the day that Christ was crucified for me and you. And it becomes the most important day in our calendar. The day that your sins were forgiven. The day that my sins were forgiven. The day that we were allowed to enter the Holy of Holies is the most important day. Then the Bible says, the day when Jesus Christ was betrayed, he took bread and he blessed it and he broke it and he gave to his disciples. And he says, eat, this is my body. Do this as often as you do what? As you remember me. And after supper, he took wine and says, this is my cup, my blood, the cup of my blood, the blood of the new covenant. Drink this as you remember me. So God wants us to have some time of remembering. Remembering what he has done for us. Remembering us. Christ says, that's the last thing that he tells them. Remember me. Do this as you remembering me. So remembering is very important because it refines our perspective. Sometimes we are getting lost. But as we come to the Sabbath and sit down and reflect and remember what he has done for us, our perspective comes back. So that's why time of reflection is very important for every Christian. Because it is a time that you can reflect, time that you can really put in perspective what is important in life. There's a time when I was a young student and I thought what is most important in life is to be like Einstein, to be the smartest guy, and I want to change the world. And one of my professors, that guy was smart. It was during the time that I was in college. He would come in front of the class with no book or with no notes, with nothing, and sit and starts to teach you and quoting all books. And this book, what it says on page 15, I don't think is the right thing because they forgot to say this and this and this. Yeah, but this book which was published on this, I mean, the guy was full of life. He was an older guy. Then he would struggle to stand up and he go to the board and he would fill the board with information. All the information was in his head. But the guy didn't love Christ. And he had an accident. His son was the one who was driving him. And when he was recovering, he had an accident again and he died. And I come to realize that even those who are so smart, they can die too. And I said, you know what? I'm no longer going to pursue smartness. I'm going to pursue Christ. Because that's the most important thing in this life. Michael Jackson could not live billions of dollars, yet he died in pain. We hear that he was no longer able to sleep. All the morphine and everything was no longer helping. But he has billions of dollars in the account. So I come to realize what is important in life. It is Christ above all. So Christ wants us to remember him, to remember what he has done for us. Because what he has done for us is the most important thing that anyone can ever have. So today I want to talk about another day that the Jews remember. Of all the feasts that the Jews do, there are 7 of them. All of them, they are feasts. They eat and they rejoice and they have fun and dance. And you see they're dancing around and they are dancing and they are fun. There are only few days that they fast. One of the days that they fast is the day of atonement, of course. But there's a day that they also fast. They fast in the month of Av. And we are in the month of Av. A.V. Av. What in our calendar, the Gregorian calendar, the Roman calendar, what we call August, or August, depending how you pronounce the word, the Hebrews, they call it the month of Av. It's connected to Simeon. I'm not going to get into that detail. God had a calendar that he followed, and he told the children of Israel what they ought to do in every month, in every year, and what times of the month, and what times of the year, what they were supposed to do. What are the times of the feast? What are the times to fast? What are the times to remember? What are the times just to sit down and relax? And for centuries, the world was using God's calendar. Everything was in sync with God's times and God's calendar. It happened sometime getting to the Dark Ages that Constantine plotted to change God's times. Because the people who were most powerful were the Jewish people, because they were in sync with their God. And God was teaching them and leading them and moving in God's time. So the plot is for us to overcome the God's people, because the Israelites were God's people. Let's just take them out of their time understanding. If they are out of sync of time, they are not going to be in the right time at the right place. He wanted them to move away from their God, from their calendar, and from God's times. He wanted the Jews to forget about the God of Israel. So we find out they crafted the Gregorian calendar. And when the Romans took over during that period, they changed time to the Roman calendar, which was tweaked, and it becomes the Gregorian Roman calendar. That new calendar, which was done to corrupt God's people, so that they forget about God and about their times, is the calendar that we happen to follow. That's the calendar that we follow today. Hence, we do not really understand the spiritual times or God's times as God ordained the calendar, his own calendar. We have actually forgotten about this calendar, and we go with our own new calendar. So the month of Av is the month. I'm just going to give you a little bit of information here. If I'm tracing the history of the children of Israel from the time that they left Egypt, or Goshen specifically where they were, going to the promised land. This is the time when they've just left Mount Sinai and they moved to the wilderness of Paran, a place called Kadesh Barnea. It was in August, if you may like. It was in the month of Av. It is this time that we are today. This is the time where the 12 spies were sent to Canaan and they spied the land. And after spying the land, they came with a report. 10 of them came with a bad report. I can name and shame them. It was Shammua, Shephat, Igal, Palti, Guel, Gadal, Gedi, Amiel, Sefer, and Nabi. These came with a bad report. They say, we went to the land. It is not a good land. But when they come from that land, they come with all the nice fruits of the land. Isn't that interesting? We have come with the niceties of the land for us to test, for us to see, and to say it's not a good land. But two of them came with a good report. Who are they? Joshua and Caleb. And when they came with this bad report, 10 of them, which is the majority report, the children of Israel cried and cursed God. The children of Israel wanted to stone Moses and Aaron. They said, you are no longer our leaders from today onwards. They started to try to choose a new leader. Interestingly, do you know what they wanted to do with the new leader? Was not to go forward to the promised land. We want a new leader who can take us back to Egypt. One of the greatest challenges in life, from the time that you become born again, is the spirit of going back to Egypt. You start to be a Christian, you start to read the word, you start to enjoy the word, you start to walk with the Lord, you start to see breakthroughs and blessings, you start to become closer and closer to the Lord, and then the spirit of Egypt comes upon you. Instead of looking forward to the promised land, you look back. And Lot's wife looked back. So what happened? They wanted to kill Moses and Aaron. Only that God would not allow that to happen. The Bible says Moses and Aaron, they fall on their faces and they tear their garments. They cried to the Lord. The 10th verse says, the land devours its inhabitants. As if the land has teeth, it opens its teeth and it eats its inhabitants. There are giants in that land. We were like grasshoppers in our own eyes. So we were in their eyes. They come with such a bad report. But interestingly, there's contradiction. With that bad report in their hands, they are holding the niceties of the land. All the fruits of the land. And they tested, everybody tested the fruit and said, it should be a rich land. Caleb and Joshua said, the land that we passed to spy is exceedingly a good land. The land the Lord will give us this land to us. The land is flowing with honey and milk, what we call the minority report. If you can follow democrats, who are you going to go with? 10 versus 2. That's why I say democrats is not that good sometimes. It just depends. So 2 says, the Lord will give us this land. It's a wonderful land. 10 says, no, it is its inhabitants. Israel, during that time, had a choice to make. A very important choice. Either to heed to the majority report, the land is its inhabitants, or to heed to the minority report. Do you know what they chose? The majority report. And they say, we will not go. We don't want to go. Moses, you tell your God, we just don't want even to go there. The Bible says God was very angry with them. And at one time, God thought of wiping all of them. Arguably, there were between 3 to 5 million people. Wanted to wipe all of them. God was angry. Moses is the one who went to have a conversation with the Lord. He invoked the covenant and And he said, oh, God of Israel, remember the covenant that we made with Abraham, your servant. And you said this and this and this will happen. You take his children's children unto the land of the promise. Remember the covenant, God of Israel. And God listened to his prophet. He saw the heart of Moses, who interceded on behalf of others. That's the power of intercession. Those who are in the intercession group. This is the power of intercession. You can stand on the gap. When God wants to destroy someone, you can stand on the gap and cry on the covenant, and God can reverse that. God can stop what he's about to do. He can do that because he honors you. God forgave them, but he said something that is very deep. I've forgiven them. I'm not going to kill all of them. But those who were numbered, you remember the book of Numbers? The book of Numbers is the book where they numbered the people of Israel by clan and by family. That as we get into the promised land, this family is going to get this land. Allocation of land. They allocated the land in faith before they go to the promised land. So God says, everybody who was numbered, meaning that those who were 21 years and older, because they were numbering people who were 20 years and older, right? Those who were numbered, all of them will not see the promised land, will not go to the promised land. And if you want to count, these are millions of people. I've forgiven you, I'm not going to kill you. But these people, because of your unbelief, you are not going to go to the promised land. And if you trust the Bible, those who were 21 years and above, all of them, they died in the wilderness. Because they ended up spending how many years? 40 years in the wilderness. And all of them, they died in the wilderness. Those who were 20 years and younger, and if you add 40 years, they were about 60, right? Yes. Those are the ones who entered the promised land. We know that the Bible says God is full of mercy and long-suffering and kindness, but remembering the iniquity of the guilt up to the third and the fourth generation. It's still the same God. God says because they refused to yield to faith, they refused to believe. When I told them that it's time to enter, they refused to enter. When I'm the one who was leading them by night and by day, and I talked to them that it's time to go in, they refused. Because of that, I'll scatter them in the wilderness. Yes, they spent 40 years. Those were overtrained. By then including Moses himself, Aaron, Miriam, all of them that died in the wilderness. The event that I described all happened in the month of Av. It's in August. And we happen to be in Av. Talk to your neighbor. Say, neighbor, it's not August. It's Av. Israel chose disbelief and disobey. Now listen very carefully. I'm just going to run down this very quickly. Since that time, because they refused to yield to the Lord, there's a certain phenomenon that happens in Israel, and by extension to the church, during the month of Av. The month that Israel refused to yield to the Lord. On the 9th of Av, the day that they were supposed to enter, 587 BC, the armies of Babylon destroyed Israel and Solomon's temple. You remember Solomon's temple? The most magnificent temple on earth was destroyed on the 9th of Av, the day that they refused to enter. On the 9th of Av, AD 70, this is popular, the Romans stormed the Jewish land and they destroyed, they took them into captivity. And they destroyed the second temple, because after the Solomon's temple was destroyed, they rebuilt the temple. That second temple was destroyed on the same day, the 9th of Av. On the 9th of Av, AD 135, the Jews who were fighting against the Romans, that's the time that the Jews were defeated and the Romans come and take over. On the 9th of Av, AD 1095, the first Crusader started to sweep across the Jewish land, and thousands of Jews were killed on that particular day. On the 9th of Av, AD 1290, the Jews were expelled from England in thousands upon thousands. We no longer want you here. Leave. On the 9th of Av, AD 1492, the Jews were expelled from Spain. On the 9th of Av, AD 2005, few numbers of you were born, the Jews were expelled from the Gaza Strip. On the 9th of Av, every 9th of Av since then, there is an enemy of Israel who wants to exterminate all of them. At one time, it was Saddam Hussein, and he had made missiles, and all of them, they were pointing to Israel. And he wanted to make sure that the missiles can go to Israel. That's the time that he was trying to make a warhead that is nuclear. You remember that? At one time, it was also in Av, it was Iran. At one time, it was Russia who are talking to Iran, and it always repeats itself in the month of Av. The 9th of Av was the day that God chose for his children to go to the promised land. That's the day that they were supposed to celebrate. That's the day that they were going to look at God with awe and say, look what our God has done. This is the day that we want them to remember forever that the God prevailed against the enemies. But it became a day of mourning. Are you seeing that? It became a day of mourning. They chose to listen to the voice of disbelief, unbelief, than the voice of faith. Interestingly, the spies who came with the fruits from Canaan, and Israel tasted the fruits, but even after tasting the fruits, they refused to enter. Israel forgot all the miracles that God had showed them, the 10 plagues that happened when they were still in Egypt. They forgot about all that. They said our enemies are too strong for us. There are giants there. They are too strong for us. We cannot go. And until today, Israel finds the month of Av that the enemies are too strong for them. The Bible says, as a man thinketh, so you are a product of your thought process. If you think you are going to succeed, listen, you are going to succeed. If you think you are going to get that contract, you'll get it. If you think your child is going to be healed, she will be healed. If you think you are going to be pregnant, you are going to be pregnant. If you think you are ugly, I'm not going to argue with you. As a man thinketh, so he is. The Bible says, you are wonderfully made, you are fearfully made, and someone come and say, you are ugly. You hear the report of someone instead of hearing the report of the Lord. You get what I'm saying? As a man thinketh, so he is. Hebrews 4 verse 1 to 2 says, Israel refused to mix the promise with faith. I'm talking to people who have been given promises by God. Let me tell you, those promises can come to pass as long as you mix that promise with faith. Hebrews 11 verse 6 says, no one can please God except with what? Faith. So without faith, no one can please God. James says, faith without works is dead. So they refuse to mix the promise with faith. They refuse to please God with their faith. They refuse to enter with his works. Few lessons that we can learn from what I've said. Number one, timing is everything. We read from Ecclesia, we hear that there's time for this and time for that, right? Timing is everything. happened to them. Oh, so time is everything. Meaning that the same time that comes to a wise man is the same time that comes to a fool. If a fool knows the time and make a good decision, he can make it, and a wise man can fail. The battle is not for the strong. So time is everything. If you're a person who doesn't understand time, and your time especially, you're going to miss some big opportunities. You're going to miss some very big opportunities. There's a man in my country who was called, it was during the time that we were getting independence. We were colonized by the British. The British, we are fighting them. The British are about to leave. And the British went to this man who was working for the company. And they say, you see what's happening because of the war, we are going back. And we are going to leave this company in your name. This is a multi-million-dollar company. So we put it in your name so that it has black ownership. And we are going to provide technical assistance. And the man refused. As I'm saying right now, the man doesn't even get a bicycle. It is an opportunity that came to his life. It is a time that came to his life. Most people who become rich in Zimbabwe after independence are people who were left with farms, with companies, with industries by the white people. These are the people who become millionaires, start to run bus companies, industries, and stuff like that. They were just given on a silver platter. Someone refused. So you see, time is everything. Time is important. Look at your neighbor and smile a little bit and say, neighbor, do you know your time? Do you know what time is it right now? Time is important. Number 2, lack of faith, fear, timidity, and rebellion can cause you to lose your promise. Lack of faith, fear, timidity, rebellion can cause you to lose your promise. So God will promise you, and it shall be done in the days of your life, that a door will open, and when that door opens, you are going to enter, and when you enter that door, more doors will open. And we like prophets, isn't it? If the prophets come, and you are pumped up, that night you read the Bible before you sleep, other night you forget. Then the time finally comes, and you do not enter. You see it, right? Lack of faith or fear. They were afraid of the giants, and they failed to possess their inheritance. Number 3, God is not a man that he lies, nor a son of man that he can lie. Whatever he says, he does. When God says, Moses, tell the children of Israel, you have heard the report from Caleb, you have heard the report from Joshua, it is your time to enter. Can you now enter? He doesn't lie. Wherever there's a vision, there's a provision. When he says, I'm going to give you this, you know that he's going to provide what is needed at that point in time. God can say to you, you are going to be a president of the university. And you look at yourself and you say, goodness, I don't even have a degree. How can I be a president of a university? How can this be? As long as he says you are going to be, he will provide. Have you ever heard about something that is called an honorary degree? Have you ever heard about that?
Yes, sir.
Why this? Someone spent 4 years or 6 years studying a degree, writing exams after exams, and sometimes failing and not sleeping, and finally get that degree. Someone is asleep. And one day, they say, hey, you have done a whole lot of things. We are going to give you an honorary doctorate. With the way that someone went, and someone is, so he knows. We have people back home who are running university. They don't have a degree. They were given a degree that they didn't even work for. So the sooner God says, I will do this, listen, he will provide what is needed when time comes. All what you need is to trust in him. Number 4, you can't get a promise. You miss the timing, you can lose it. All the Jews got a promise to enter the promised land. But those who were 20 years and above, millions of them, because they didn't understand the time, they lost it. Number 5, our God is a God of second chance. You can smile with this one. Everybody likes that part, right? I like it too. Our God is a God of second chance. Second chance came to the Jews. You know when it came? Messiah came. When Messiah came, they saw him. He told them, I'm the Messiah. He did miracles. He showed miracles. He did everything. He told them, I'm going to die. By the third day, I'm going to resurrect. Everything that he said happened. It came to pass. But did the Jewish receive him? They received. They rejected him. The same way at Kadesh Barnea, when God says, enter, and they rejected. You find the same way Jesus has come and they rejected. The Bible says he came firstly for the Jews, the lost sheep of Israel, as the Bible says. But as many as they believed, which is the Gentiles now who believed, he gave them power to be called children of God. I want you to understand this because I want to conclude. The church is part of Israel. It's an understanding that most people don't have, and the church has become very excited about finding Christ and they think that they are on their own. No, the church is part of Israel. Actually, the church is the spiritual Israel. Ephesians call it the olive tree. The olive tree is the Jewish root, who is Christ, and the Jewish tree. But some branches were removed, and the Gentiles were engrafted. The church was engrafted. So that pillar still stands. So the way the Bible talks about the olive tree, it is talking about the church and the Jews coming together. That's why the Bible talks about the new man. The new man, it is the Jews and the Gentiles coming together to be one new man in Christ Jesus. But when the Bible is talking about the fig tree, it is talking about Israel. Right. So we are part of Israel. And I want this to be clear to you. We are part of Israel. What affects Israel affects the church. What affects the church affects Israel, because we are one to the other. So let me conclude. The month of Av is the month where you can see some of these things, these following things. Number 1, your faith is going to be challenged in August. The Lord opened my eyes, I think it was on Friday, and He started to ask me to trace my June, July, August from the time that I was in grade 7. And I realized that during that period, there's always challenging of my faith. Something comes my way to challenge my faith. And the enemy wants you to have the report of the 10. Disbelief, disobedience, that's what the enemy wants you to do. So when your faith is being challenged, know that you are going to go with the report of Caleb and the report of Joshua. It is a month of open doors. We are in a month of open doors. And some of you came, you don't have a scholarship, you are moving from one office to the other, you're looking for a scholarship, and you're like, God, what am I going to do? And God is saying, if I'm the one who brought you here, I'm the one who's going to open the door. Choose who do you want to believe. Do you want to believe God, or do you want to believe the 10? If you choose to believe the 10, you're going to realize that for the next 2 years, you're struggling to get finance. But if you believe that God says He is going to do it, and He is not a man that He lies, He is going to do it. If you're looking for a job, and 25 places that you've applied, all of them they've rejected or not even call you back. That's the report of the 10. If you continue to faith, and you continue to believe that, Lord, you are able. You say you're going to open the door, and He will open the door. It is a time that your faith is tested. I'm saying this enough, I'm feeling something because I know I'm going through something right now. And I know it's a test of my faith. And I know that if I accept, a certain door is going to open. If I listen to the report of the 10, I can be stuck for a little bit of a time until the second chance comes. And you don't even know when the second chance will come. The enemy wants you to listen to the majority report. Do not listen to the minority report. Listen to what God is saying to you. God wants his divine plan to be done in your life. It was divine plan of God. And by the time that they reach Kadesh Barnea, they are going to number each other with the book of Numbers. Then from then on, they are going to cross over. And as they cross over, they are going to start to apportion the land. It was the divine plan of God. So God wants his divine plan to be done in your life. And all what you need to do is faith, is to partner with God. That's all what you need to do. And there's somewhere where I read, I don't know where that scripture is, somewhere in, I think it's in Numbers somewhere there, when he says, I will send hornets ahead of you to drive all your enemies. I don't want to drive all your enemies at once. Because if I do that, the numbers of wild animals and everything will be greater for you to contain. So I still want your enemies to be there so that they can contain the land. While you guys are coming in little bit by little bit, and you multiply in numbers until you have enough numbers to conquer the whole land. You know, sometimes when we become Christians, all our problems don't stop at once. You know that, right? I mean, I wish the problems would just stop like, Lord, come into my heart and immediately all your problems vanish. I wish if it was like that. But what God wants is he will leave your problems there and your enemies there and you have victory. And you have victory over victory, and the more you have victory, they are pushed away. They are pushed away. They are pushed away until you are established. And he's training you in faith. He's training you in patience. He's training you in long suffering. He's training you in gentleness, in kindness, in all the fruits of the Holy Spirit. So that at the end of the day, the man of God, the woman of God is full of the Holy Spirit, accomplished for the things of the Lord. So he has a divine plan, and he knows how he can make you to arrive there. Some of us, if it was so easy for us to arrive where we arrived, we would have lost Christ a long time ago. But because he doesn't want you to lose him when you reach there, he works with you little bit by little bit. Sometimes he withholds something that you need so much, and he gives you everything that you don't need so much. Then you'll be like, Lord, thank you for everything, but I also need this thing so much. And you continue praying, you continue seeking him, and you grow in character. He builds you, and you have a good relationship with him. And while that relationship is intact, when you know that you're not going to backslide, when you know that you are now a woman of God who is following God and nothing else, and for nothing else, then he says, yeah, now let me give you what you wanted. He knows how to deal with us. You know, my daughters have said, we want to go to Chick-fil-A to eat ice cream. And I go to the room, and the room appears like this hurricane that passed by. Toys, blankets, call it, everything is there. I said, girls, hey, did you clean the room? Oh, Daddy, we don't want chores today. I wish, there's a day like this, I don't want chores today. We don't want chores. No. You need to clean your room. We don't want to clean your room, okay? On Friday, I'm going to take you to the park. Then I'm going to take you to Chick-fil-A for ice cream. Only if your room is clean. Oh my goodness, they run to the room. They make sure that the room is clean. What I'm training them is to clean their room. If they can clean it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they are likely going to maintain that behavior of cleaning the room. So I know what I'm trying to do. So sometimes God kind of withholds that which you really, really need. It's just a way of shaping your character until you reach there. When you are there, when you surrender completely, then he knows what to do. This month of Av, listen to me, you're going to advance in partnership. You're going to advance in partnership. I want you to check who do you partner with. Check your alignments, because your partnership verse 10. Who came and said, oh, then we were like grasshoppers in their eyes. They were giants. There's something that happened in verse 10. They died instantly. God killed them. So who you partner with is important. And the other two partner together. When I read the Bible, when I reach there, I kind of tremble a little bit. Let me tell you. I feel like the Old Testament mimics the New Testament. God's chosen people, the Israelites, coming from Egypt, going to Canaan, is symbolic of us receiving Christ, coming from the world, going to light. And God leads them stage by stage. And when they are about to reach the place, then God says, enter. And what did they do? They refused to enter. And God says, all those who come from Egypt, millions of them, who refuse to enter, no one of them is going to enter the rest. All of them are going to die in the wilderness. So I take it now as, when I come from the world of Egypt, I received Christ. Now I'm walking in step with the Holy Spirit, with Christ. Then the Bible says, and in those days, men shall say, Lord, didn't we worship in your name? Didn't we do miracles in your name? Didn't we do all this in your name? And I'll say to them, away from me, you doers of evil, I never even know you. I see the relationship between those two. I see the relationship between those two. How are you living your Christian life? It is important. How are you living your Christian life? From the time that you came from the world, now you are in Christ, right? Good, thank God. How are you living your Christian life? Are you going to say, oh, there's grace, and there's grace. Surely there's grace. And he's full of grace and kindness and mercy and long-suffering. That's what the Bible says, right? Judging up to the third and fourth generation. The very God who's full of love that you have been preached unto is the same God who's going to judge. And the modern preacher, because he wants a mega church and mega money, he tells you, no, it's okay. Just do whatever you're doing. You're good. Just come to church. It's fine. But the truth is, the same God, if you go to Revelations, who's full of love, who took you from Egypt, who took you now to Canaan, is the same God who's saying, you, millions of you, because you refuse to enter, not even one of you will enter Canaan. Only 2 people who were over 20 years then entered Canaan. Do you know who are they? Joshua and Caleb. I know a little bit of you are like, okay, that's kind of scary. I don't want to come back to this stage again. No, I don't want to go where they say, no, everything must come out, everything must be taken care of, everything is fine. Let me tell you the truth. God remains God yesterday, today, and forever. We are blessed, me and you, that we have received Him. The Bible says, let's live our lives in such a way that is worth His death. That's what the Bible says. We were purchased not by things that perish, like silver and gold. We were purchased by the blood. So because we were purchased by the blood, brethren, I'm talking to somebody. I know I'm not talking alone right now. I know the Spirit of God is upon me. Yes, I'm talking to someone. Check your life. Is your life a life that pleases God? Or are you saying, you know what? He is a God of second chance. The Jewish nation, the Jewish people were given a second chance when Messiah came. They even tested Messiah, but rejected him. You have received Christ, and He loves you, and He wants to lead you to your Canaan, which is heaven. And why is He taking you to Canaan, to your heaven? Are you living the way that is worth His calling? Are you living the way that pleases Him? Or are you rejecting Him for the second time? So check who you partner with. I come to realize later on in life that I don't need a lot wants a group. I come to realize that it's vanity. I want two friends, Caleb and Joshua. I want two friends who say, Brother Arnold, what you're doing is wrong. Brother Arnold, let's pray. Brother Arnold, we need to seek the Lord. I want few friends around me who are going to lead me to the presence of the Lord. I want Caleb and Joshua in my life. I don't want the 10, because the 10 are taking me to a different direction. Then the Bible talks about there are two roads. One is wide, and there's another one which is very narrow and tiny. And the wide ones, you walk luxuriously. You enjoy yourself as you walk. There's no problem in walking in that road. It is full of comforts and full of fanfare and all the niceties of life. It doesn't have challenges, right? But those who follow those roads, where are they going? Someone help me. Destruction. There's a little one that you and me, we are walking, I believe. A little one that is, we have to be careful when you're walking a little road, because you can run out of the road. That little one is bumps and obstacles and challenges and triumphs, trials and temptations and everything. And you have to navigate that little road. But at the end of the day, it goes unto the Lord. Which road are you? You choose. The month of Av is a month of choice. It is a month where you choose the report of 10 or the report of 2. The month of Av is a month of choice. It is the choice where you say, Lord, I am from today, I've heard your word. I confess, I repent. Now I'm going to seek you, Lord. I'm going to follow you, Lord. Or you can say, oh no, another preacher who's just too fiery. It is a month of choice. And the Bible says, I've given you life and death. It's even, it's like a cheat sheet. It tells you what to choose. The answer is A or B, but choose B. It's like A. I know the answer. Choose life. And I'm preaching to a group that needs to choose life. Listen to me. I don't care about your past. And I don't know anyone who doesn't have the past. The past is gone, and you cannot change it. But what you can change is from now as I preach. From now as we move on, you can change that. Today you can make a decision. Like those two boys, Joshua and Caleb. Today, this very day. And you can say, you can come to the altar. No one has to pray for you on your own. And just offload it to the Lord. Whatever you want to offload to the Lord. Whatever you want to give unto the Lord. And you can change your life. And whatever happened, even yesterday, last night, the Lord can forgive them just like that. But choice has to be made by you. Let me finish up. The month of Av is the month that you need to discern. Discernment is very important. You have to discern. Whatever is happening around your life, discern. You have the discerning spirit. Go by God's counsel and God's advice. Go by Caleb. Go by Joshua. Don't go by the 10. In life, God gives you a lot of people who counsel you. And those people who come into your life, they don't come by mistake. They come because it was designed to be. So those people come to your life and say, Sister Odette, be very careful. Don't go to the left. You're going to fall. Go to the right. It's not like they want to control you. It's because these are people who are put in your life by God to guide you in the right direction. And in most cases, you can choose to disobey, which is what the 10 did, right? And what Israel did. That you can choose. Or you can choose to go with the advice that came from Caleb and Joshua. I had a situation some years ago, and I'm blessed in my life to have some few older people to me who I consult with. One of them, the majority of you guys, you know Pastor Asante, who was here preaching here. Pastor Asante is 70 years old. And, with age comes wisdom. Not all the time, but basically with age comes wisdom. And then I call him once in a while. And then I ask him some of the things that he doesn't even know the technicalities of the stuff. I know the technicalities of the stuff. But I say, Dad, this is what I'm going through, and I have this situation, and I don't know what to do. There's a time that I got a job in North Carolina. It's a private university, and they were going to give me something like 25,000 more than what I get. And they said they wanted someone who can push the international education. So I'll be working this number of months, then I'll be going to African countries to recruit for that university and blah, 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 blah. There were packages. There were many good things that they promised me. But I dreamt, before I went for the interview, I dreamt going for the interview. And when I went to the interview, I arrived, and I went to this office, and they were playing reggae and jazz at loud noise. So I was interviewed within that noise. And they gave me the job within that much noise. And when I come from that place, the road was full of human poop. So I walked navigating the human poop. And then I arrived at the campus. The campus was full of graffiti. The whole campus. Right. I went for the interview. They gave me a job. It was by far anything that I can even imagine. The package. So I told Pastor Asani, I said, Pastor Asani, this is the dream that I had. And the other thing, I was driving a car then, the car that we used to drive. And there was money on the dashboard, but the windows were open. So wind came from one direction and it hit all the money, and the money came through the other window. So that dream ended when I was running, taking the money, picking the money. I didn't pick all the money. You see the dream that I had, right? So I called Pastor Sandy. I said, Pastor Sandy, I'm going for this interview. This is the dream that I had. I went to the interview. This is what happened. What do I need to do? And I like him a lot. I like that old man a lot. The way that he talks with me, sometimes you are rebuked and you enjoy rebuke more than anything. If you reach there, you are wise. When someone rebukes you and you enjoy rebuke, that's enjoying advice. And he says, Arnold, don't be like a young, foolish man. That's how he talks. And I enjoyed the rebuke. Do not go to that university. Remain where you are. God still wants you to be where you are. He is not yet done with you. If you go to that university, things will not go well with you. You are going to lose money. Number one. Number two, your life, your spiritual life, you're going to move on poop. Right? Number three, there's going to be too much noise in your life when you are in that place. And that noise is going to distract you from listening and hearing the Lord. I listened to his advice. I looked at the pack, and the pack was attractive. And I said, okay, Lord. And by the way, it happened in the month of Ab. It was in the month of Ab. And I had to make a choice. I wrote them an email. I almost just closed my eyes as I was writing, because I didn't even want to. I didn't want to see what I was writing. And I said, thank you so much for this opportunity. I just want to let you know that, I'm going to remain where I am. I'm not going to come. They didn't call me. Tell me, what else do you want? We can give you. Just tell us whatever you want, we can give you. The month of Ab. Let me finish. The last thing that I want to talk about as we get into the time of prayer is we have been talking about pattern, right? We have been talking about the month of Ab pattern. And we have realized that there's a pattern of choice that happens in the month of Ab. And we have to make a choice. And there are some patterns that also run in our families. All your aunties got divorced, all your sisters are getting divorced, those who are married, there are problems in the marriage. That's a pattern, right? Evil pattern or an evil cycle. Today we want to get in a time of prayer. We still have like